Good afternoon. Today is quite an exciting day for me because it represents the last day this bike will be in one piece. Today is the day when I start to dismantle it, ready for powder coating of the frame, repainting of the plastics and the tank, plating of all the nuts and bolts. This will be the start of it. Today is not going to be about stripping the whole bike down. Today is about something which I've been umming and ahhing about for some time, as whether to restore this bike fully or whether to just do a partial restoration. But one thing that's always bothered me about the bike is the aftermarket exhaust. That's not to say that I don't like the aftermarket exhaust. It works very well, it sounds fantastic. It's just that it's the wrong colour, the wrong shape, the wrong mounting. I don't know, it just kind of annoys me. So after much deliberation, I put my hand in my pocket and I purchased an exhaust system for it. I managed to find this item on eBay. It came from the United States. And the reason I chose to buy this was because it came with two items that, or three items I should say, which are particularly hard to find for this bike. And that is the little collets that fit over the necks here to push the exhaust into the exhaust ports. It's not the actual collars that go around it, but the little half moon pieces of metal that fit behind here. You can get them, but they are incredibly expensive, overpriced, quite rare. And getting them posted from the States costs almost as much as this did with those collars. So I opted to go for that, which then led on to me purchasing this. And this is the exciting bit. This is the bit that really made me think twice about going to an original exhaust system. This is an aftermarket reproduction of the original XL250 exhaust system. As you can see, it's got the expansion box, and then it goes into the tailpipe at the rear through this narrow, very narrow section of pipe between the two sections. So today's job, as stated, is to start the dismantling of the bike, ready for the various painting jobs and powder coating. However, I'm only going to go as far as taking the tank and the seat off today, the exhaust system, and then I'm going to dry fit this exhaust system without gaskets, but just to make sure that it all fits. And if any modifications have to be made to make it fit, then they can be done prior to powder coating. This tailpipe was made by a company called Musket mufflers from New Zealand. I purchased it from a UK seller called David Silver Spares, who deals with a lot of old Honda parts. This particular part was £230, including the VAT, which is not a small amount of money, and it did make me think twice about buying it. However, given the fact that I don't like living with the silver aftermarket exhaust that's on there, I think I made the right decision. I have just slid the replacement muffler roughly into place at the back here, and immediately there appears to be an issue that I didn't foresee. The website had carefully photographed this exhaust system from the other side, which at the time I thought was odd because you want to see all the sides of the muffler. However, they didn't. So I have the exhaust here roughly in place, and this plate is supposed to bolt to this muffler as a heat shield to protect the plastics here. There should be 3 mounting points for it, however they are clearly not there. And having looked at this muffler design from this side, it does not match the original muffler exactly, so I don't think the intention was ever going to be to allow this heat plate to sit there. So I have to now trust that this muffler has been designed in a way that heat isn't going to radiate and melt the back of the plastics that is sat here. I will be very displeased if that happens. Obviously a lot of work and money has gone into this bike so far, so I have to trust them that they've got this right. Also, as a side note, I spent money on this part, which is now obviously of no use to me, so I guess I'm going to have to move that on at some point, but I am slightly irritated. One of the issues I've got mounting the exhaust is that at some point this bracket here has been welded onto the frame. It has been welded in the right place, but presumably at some point somebody broke something. This was originally a separate bracket, or they got fed up with it coming off, or it was loose, I don't know, but they welded it badly onto the frame, and some of the weld has obscured the hole used to bolt the exhaust at this point. So what I need to do is cut this hole larger and make room for a bolt to pass through there. I'm going to leave that as a welded part. I don't see any reason to unweld it at this point. It's not doing any harm and doesn't affect the bike. What I probably will do before powder coating though is clean this weld up using an angle grinder and make it look a lot neater than it actually currently is. I am definitely going to have to look at the electrical routing. Seems to be a little bit in the way. I am encountering yet more problems. In order to line up the hole, which we've got here, we are having interference issues with the seat mount bracket. Now the seat mount bracket is designed to fit in that divot. I don't know if you can make it out or not, but it isn't. It's kind of just a little bit ahead of itself. So in order to get it to fit in that divot, if I move the exhaust forward a little bit, it now fits in the divot. It's still quite tight, but the issue is the exhaust then rides too far forward and our bolt hole doesn't line up. So there are two options. One is make the bolt hole bigger, but I don't want to. And the other is possibly to make that indentation slightly bigger, which I don't want to. But I think this is looking like the most likely solution to the problem, and this is why I'm dry fitting this exhaust before the powder coating, because I had a feeling, as with a lot of aftermarket parts, there's always a bit of wrangling. So if I line that up, I'm going to bolt that in, and then I'm going to make some marks on the exhaust, and I think I might just tap it with a brass rod and see if we can just extend that indentation to allow clearance. The other thing to check before making any modifications is of course that the whole exhaust system fits together. Now this is where the exhaust manifold hits the rest of the exhaust system. I don't know if you can make out there, but the angles are a little bit funky. Now that is with the exhaust cinched up tight against this bracket here. Perhaps relaxing it and packing it out slightly may give us the angle we're looking for, but as it stands it's not ideal, and there's no movement or flexibility there, so I think that may cause us issues once the gasket's in place. Much fettling. This is just tri-assembled at the moment, but we're sort of there. Still not 100% happy with this bit here. It's still touching the exhaust, but it is much better than it was. I shall trial it once the bike's done, and if I don't like it I will probably wallop it a bit more. Try and get more of a dent in there.